Today's recipe is mutton biryani. For this we need 800 grams of mutton. I've got boneless mutton here. We need around 400 grams of sliced onions. I will use this onion for brishta as well as for the gravy of the mutton biryani. We need half a bunch of cilantro leaves. If you have coriander leaves, you can use that. We need 2 tablespoons of garlic paste, 1 tablespoon ginger paste, quarter cup yogurt. Here I've got about 200 grams of tomatoes. We need 1.5 tablespoons of biryani masala, half teaspoon turmeric powder, half teaspoon cumin powder, half teaspoon coriander powder, and half teaspoon of garam masala powder. We also need a bay leaf, a 3-inch cinnamon stick, 1 badi elaichi also known as black cardamom, and 4 green cardamoms and 4 cloves. We also need some whole red chilies for this recipe, and here I've got 1 teaspoon of Kashmiri red chili powder. I will be using ghee to make the mutton biryani, and we also need some salt as per taste. Plus we need some parboiled biryani rice. So let's start making mutton biryani. To this hot water I have added some olive oil for the biryani rice, and now I'll add in cumin seeds. Cumin seeds is an option. If you want, you can add that. Cinnamon stick. It's a 3-inch cinnamon stick, plus cloves and cardamom, a bay leaf, and I'm adding in 4 green chilies. Now what I want is, I want this water to come to a rolling boil. At that time I will add in my washed rice. So I'll drain the water from my rice. After that I will add it in this. Add salt while boiling the rice water. So I'll cover this pot and let the water come to a rolling boil. Water's come to a rolling boil. Now we will add in our washed basmati rice. We need to partially cook, also known as parboiling, this rice. I will let this rice cook like this for first 7 minutes. So I'll keep this pot uncovered and let this water come to a boil again and cook it for minimum 7 minutes. For biryani rice we also need Zaffran. This is a very important ingredient for biryani. It gives a fantastic aromatic flavor to the rice. I will cook this rice for a further 2 minutes because at 7-minute mark the water hasn't yet come to a proper boil. Once it comes to a boil, then I'll cover it and cook for a further 2 minutes. It's been exactly 9 minutes since this rice has been boiling in the water. Now what we need to look for is to cook this rice to up to 80% or 85% for your biryani. So right now at this point I will be covering this dish, this pot, and I let it cook on medium high. It's been exactly 3 minutes. At this time I'll open and remove the lid to check on the rice. This is perfect. You can see the rice is cooked well. Immediately turn off the stove. So this is actually partly cooked. This rice we will cook it further with either meat. This biryani rice is ready to use. So I'll drain the water now. Before draining this rice water out from the rice, I'll take some water from it and use it for my saffron. I'll add it to my saffron. This will give an excellent color to the saffron. Now if you don't want to use hot water, you can most certainly use milk as well. I like using hot water because this hot water helps the saffron to leave a very rich color for my biryani. So let's drain the water from this rice and use it for the biryani. I will let this biryani rice be in this till I use it for my recipe. I've added 1/4 cup of ghee to this recipe. Now I'll wait for this to warm up and then I will start the process of frying the onions light golden brown for the brishta, which goes between the layers of the biryani. So I will use half the quantity of my onions for the brishta and the other half I will use it while cooking the mutton. Right now my flame is on medium high. I'll cook this till these onions turn slightly golden brown, and when frying these onions, always keep in mind, do not fry them to a dark brown, because once you remove them from the ghee or oil, whatever you're using, the onions still cook a bit while they're cooling down. So I'll continue frying this till my onions are lightly golden brown. While my onions are frying for the biryani, I will start cooking the tomatoes. So I don't cook it together with the mutton, I cook it separately. So I'll add in ghee to a warm pan. This is approximately a tablespoon of ghee. Add in all my whole spices. Here I've added the cinnamon stick, black cardamom, green cardamoms and cloves. So I'll just saute this for 30 seconds. So what I do is I cook the tomatoes separately, and when I'm layering the rice with the biryani, when I'm layering the biryani with the mutton, I use the tomatoes as a separate layer in between the rice. Now it's been 30 seconds. I'll just add in my chopped tomatoes. I'll cook these tomatoes till they turn pulpy and a little soft. After that, I will add some salt to taste. Also add the bay leaf, 1 bay leaf. When the tomatoes become a little pulpy, then I'll add a little garlic paste to it. While the tomatoes are cooking, add in half tablespoon of garlic paste. Give it a quick stir. If you want, you can also add some red chilli powder. Here I'm using Kashmiri red chilli because it's not that spicy, but if you really like a spicy biryani, you can definitely use the regular red chilli powder. I'll give it a quick stir and I'll continue cooking this till these tomatoes are a little pulpy. You can see the tomatoes have turned nice and pulpy. Now at this point of time, I'll just add in 1 tablespoon of yogurt and give it a quick stir. Now I'll further cook this tomatoes till I see some oil floating on the surface of this gravy. And once that's done, I'll turn it off and I'll keep it aside and use this for layering with the rice and mutton. this tomato pulp is ready for layering with the rice. You can see the oil is floating on the surface of this. I'll turn the stove off and I'll use it when I need it. Onions look fried for the brishta. It's golden, very light golden brown. Now I'll turn the stove off and I'll remove these onions and keep it aside to use it for layering in between my biryani. You can see how beautifully these onions have cooked. So when I remove it, it will still further cook till it cools down. So at this point, you should remove the onions from the pan. Onion brishta is ready to use, or golden fried onions is ready to use for biryani. After removing the brishta from the pan, I'll add in the remaining sliced onions and I'll cook them till they are translucent or transparent. And my flame is currently on medium. At this point of time, I'll add in a little salt. Salt helps in cooking the onions a bit faster because it helps the onions leave its moisture. I just added around half a teaspoon of salt and saute your onions to avoid the onions from burning. So saute the onions occasionally. Onions look transparent. At this point of time, I will add in the mutton. Give it a quick stir. Now I want to cook this mutton till the original water of this mutton dries out, and then I'll add in the remainder of my spices and my yogurt and continue cooking this mutton till it's tender for the biryani. You can see the water from this mutton is still there, so I will further cook it till this water completely dries out and the ghee begins to float on the surface or around the mutton. The water from the mutton has dried out. Now this time I will add in all my masalas for this recipe. And give it a quick stir. Add the red chilies too. Now if you're using green chilies, you can add that at this point of time. I'll add in my ginger paste and my garlic paste as well. Give it a good stir and saute this for less than a minute. Add salt to taste. And now I'll add in my yogurt and then I'll give it a quick stir. As soon as you add the yogurt, give it a quick stir because you don't want the yogurt splitting and curdling in the mutton preparation for the biryani. So now I let this cook till the yogurt is little cooked and I see the ghee, or if you're using oil, floating on this surface, and then I'll add some water and let this mutton cook till it's tender. Ghee has begun to float around the mutton. At this point of time, I will add in water. Let this water come to a boil and then I will cover this pan with a lid. I will cook it on low to medium flame till this meat is actually tender. The gravy has begun to boil, or this water is boiling. At this point of time, I will cover my pan or pot, whatever you call it, and I will let it cook on low to medium flame. While letting this mutton cook, stir occasionally because you don't want the mutton sticking to the bottom of your pan. For this recipe, I have used approximately 4 cups of water. You can use as much water as you like according to the amount of meat or chicken you're using for a biryani. So I'm going to cook this further because this is around 80% done, but I need to cook it till this is actually tender. Let's check if this mutton is cooked. I'll just cut into a piece of mutton. You can see the mutton is cooked tender. At this point, I'll turn the stove off and we'll start layering the biryani. Let's start layering this biryani. So I've placed the cooked mutton on the bottom of my pot. Now I'll add some cilantro leaves. You can also add some fried onions, also known as brishta. And now add a layer of rice over this meat. I've used 2.5 cups of rice, which is around 400 to 450 grams of basmati rice. Just add a little ghee to this layer. Add the prepared tomato. Add cilantro. The onion brishta. One more layer of rice. It took me around 45 minutes to cook this mutton. I did not use a meat tenderizer, so if you use a meat tenderizer, the mutton will cook faster. Add another layer of tomatoes. All the cilantro. Plus the fried onion brishta. Spread everything evenly. So while I'm layering this mutton biryani, I have heated a thick bottom griddle, also known as a tawa, and we'll place this pot over that tawa. The final layer is saffron strands, also known as Zaffran. So spread it around. Finally, add the ghee. Some green chilies on top as a garnish. This is what we use while parboiling our rice. Now we'll cover this with a foil and keep it on dum, which means steaming. Cover this pot with a foil. Make sure no steam escapes while cooking this biryani. I'm doing double layer of foil. So I'll first cook this on high flame for 10 minutes. Then I lower my flame and let it cook for a further 30 minutes, after which I'll let it rest. Well, I'll turn the stove off, let it rest for half an hour, and then we'll serve this biryani. I've heated this tawa or the thick bottom griddle, and I'll place my biryani pot on it, and I will let this cook on high for 10 minutes. Place a lid on the pan, cover it, and continue cooking. It's been 30 minutes since this biryani has been cooking. Now I'll turn the stove off and I'll let this rest for another half an hour, and then I'll open it and show how it looks. It's been half an hour since this mutton biryani is rested. Now I'll just open it and open this foil carefully because the dish is still hot. You can see the steam. This mutton biryani is ready, and I'll show you how the meat is cooked. Let's see how this mutton is cooked. You can see the mutton is cooked so well. It's tender and nice. This mutton biryani is ready to serve. You can serve it with raitas. For the recipes of raitas, please click on the link mentioned below in the description box. Mutton biryani is ready to serve. Please like, share and subscribe to my channel. Please click on the bell icon for notification for my latest videos. Thank you for watching. Enjoy!